Men, here's something that might sound backward, but it works. If you really want to stand out in her mind, stop reaching out. Most guys cling to contact, thinking the more they message, the more she'll care. In reality, pulling back is often what makes the biggest impact. Think about it. Silence disrupts the dynamic. It removes the comfort zone she's used to. The predictable texts, the check-ins, the attention. Suddenly, you're no longer part of her daily world. And that absence triggers something powerful: curiosity and confusion. She starts wondering, why hasn't he texted? Is he done with me? Did I misjudge him? And the answers to those questions won't come from you. They'll come from how she chooses to react. Some women won't handle the silence well. They'll reach out, trying to reestablish the connection. Others will act indifferent, but still lurk in the background, checking your socials or asking around. And yes, a few may just vanish altogether. But let's be honest, those were never the right ones to begin with. This isn't about games. It's about clarity. Your silence creates space for the truth to surface. It forces her to decide whether she genuinely cares or was just enjoying the attention. Most men never get to this point because they're afraid to let go. They confuse persistence with progress, when in fact, stepping back is often what gives you the perspective and power you've been missing. So stop chasing. Watch and wait. Let her actions reveal her intentions. The silence will speak louder than any message ever could, and what she does next will tell you everything. Let's go deeper. Sign number 1. She panics and reaches out. When you stop contacting a woman, especially if she's used to having your attention, her immediate reaction might be panic. Women are highly perceptive when it comes to shifts in behavior. If you've been consistent in reaching out and suddenly go silent, she'll notice, and it can throw her off balance. That silence leaves a gap in her day and forces her to confront questions she's been avoiding. Did something happen? Did she push you away? Or worse, did you lose interest entirely? Panic sets in because your silence represents uncertainty. Women often like to feel in control of situations, especially relationships. When you stop initiating contact, she loses that sense of control. That's when the fear of losing you takes over. This fear drives her to act impulsively. She might call, text, or message you out of nowhere, seemingly for no reason. She could say something as simple as, "Hey, I haven't heard from you," or "Is everything okay?" It's not just curiosity. It's her way of regaining a foothold in the dynamic that your silence disrupted. This reaction is especially true if she secretly valued your presence more than she let on. Many women won't openly admit how much they rely on your attention until it's gone. By going silent, you've created a void, and her panicked attempt to fill that void is her first step toward revealing how much you meant to her. For instance, imagine you've been texting a woman daily for weeks, but suddenly you stop. 2 days pass, and she sends you a message. "Hey, are you okay? I was worried about you." While the message seems concerned, it's really her way of trying to understand why the dynamic shifted. The panic isn't just about you. It's about her fear of losing the comfort, attention, and validation your messages brought. This is where most men make the mistake of rushing back in, eager to explain their absence. But here's the key. Don't overplay your hand. Responding too quickly or too enthusiastically undermines the power of your silence. Instead, maintain your composure. A calm, collected response keeps her in that uncertain state where she continues to reflect on what you bring to her life. Remember, silence isn't just absence, it's strategy. Use it wisely, and watch how her reactions reveal her true feelings. Sign number 2. She pretends she doesn't care. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the most common reactions you'll encounter is her pretending she doesn't care. It's a defense mechanism. Women don't like to feel vulnerable, especially if they believe showing their emotions will make them look weak or desperate. So instead of acknowledging that your absence bothers her, she'll try to act indifferent. She'll tell herself, and anyone who will listen, that your silence doesn't affect her. even if it's the opposite of the truth. Her "I don't care" attitude can show up in subtle or obvious ways. Maybe she doesn't respond to your last message, or she posts something on social media that screams, "I'm living my best life now without you." She might even go as far as making sure you notice her happiness by engaging with other people in a way she hopes will get back to you. It's all a calculated effort to make it seem like she's perfectly fine and not thinking about you. But here's the twist. Her indifference often says more than words ever could. People who genuinely don't care don't put effort into proving it. The harder she works to project her nonchalance, the more it indicates that your absence has shaken her. She may not show it outwardly, but your silence disrupts her comfort zone. The attention and validation she once had from you are now missing, and that creates a void she doesn't want to admit exists. Now here's where men get it wrong. When she starts playing it cool, they panic. They interpret her behavior as genuine disinterest and scramble to reestablish contact. This is the worst move you can make. The moment you chase her, you reinforce her belief that she can manipulate the dynamic with her indifference. Instead, you need to stay firm in your decision to pull back. Let her continue pretending. Over time, her facade will crack because deep down, she's wondering why her usual tactics aren't working. And when she realizes that you're not falling for the act, she'll be forced to confront her own feelings. The truth is, her pretense is just a mask. If you hold your ground, it won't be long before she stops pretending and starts showing what's really on her mind. Sign number 3. She starts stalking you online. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the first places she'll turn to is your online presence. It's no secret that social media has become the modern-day window into someone's life. If she's no longer hearing from you directly, she'll try to piece together what's happening by scrolling through your posts, checking your stories, and even snooping on your interactions with others. This isn't just curiosity. It's her way of staying connected to you without breaking her silence. Women often have an incredible ability to notice details most men overlook. She'll analyze your captions, your pictures, and even the people who comment on your posts. If you've posted something new, she might be the first to view it, though she won't always engage. Why? Because admitting she's paying attention feels too vulnerable. Instead, she'll quietly observe from the shadows, taking mental notes about what you're doing, where you've been, and most importantly, who you've been spending time with. This behavior stems from a mix of emotions. Part of it is her desire to feel connected to you, even if it's one-sided. Another part is fueled by insecurity. Your silence creates a gap in her understanding, and she'll want to fill that gap with information. The fear of missing out on your life, your attention, or even a new relationship drives her to keep tabs on you. And let's be honest, it's relatable. Haven't you ever found yourself scrolling through someone's profile after a falling out or a period of distance? It's human nature to want answers, especially when you don't have direct access to someone anymore. The tricky part for men is knowing how to handle this. The mistake most men make is feeding her curiosity by oversharing online. If she's stalking you, it means she's seeking information. Posting excessively or trying to show off can give her the satisfaction of knowing what you're up to on her terms. The better strategy is to maintain a balanced and mysterious online presence. Keep her guessing. Her online stalking is proof that your absence is affecting her. The key is to stay in control and resist the urge to make your life a spectacle. Let her watch from the sidelines and wonder about the parts of your life she can't see. Sign number 4. She tests you with mixed signals. When you stop contacting a woman, don't be surprised if she suddenly starts sending you mixed signals. One day she might like your post or drop a casual text. The next, she's cold, distant, or completely unresponsive. This hot and cold behavior isn't random. It's deliberate. She's testing you. Mixed signals are her way of gauging your emotional stability and seeing if you're still hooked on her. Here's the reality. Women know that inconsistency creates confusion, and confusion keeps you guessing. She knows how to make you question her intentions. Are her messages a sign she's interested again, or is she just being polite? Is she warming up, or does she simply enjoy the attention? These unanswered questions keep men mentally tied to her, even when she's no longer offering anything meaningful. Now here's where many men mess up. Instead of recognizing the test, they jump at every breadcrumb she throws. She texts, and they immediately respond. She pulls back, and they chase harder. This reaction only confirms what she suspects. You're still emotionally invested, and she still has power over you. It's time for men to wake up. Mixed signals aren't a sign of genuine interest. They're a game. And by playing along, you're showing her that you lack emotional control. Women respect men who can remain steady and composed, even when faced with uncertainty. If her behavior is confusing, don't try to decode it. Instead, focus on your own boundaries and self-respect. The key to passing her test is detachment. Don't let her inconsistent behavior dictate your actions or emotions. When she's warm, don't get overly excited. When she's cold, don't overthink it. By staying neutral and refusing to chase, you show her that her games won't work on you. Men need to stop living for the hope of her approval. If a woman is genuinely interested, she'll be clear about her intentions. Mixed signals are a sign of immaturity or uncertainty on her part, and you shouldn't waste your time trying to fix that. In the end, her test isn't just about you. It's about her own insecurities. By maintaining your composure, you'll show her that you're not the type of man who falls for emotional manipulation. That's the kind of strength women can't help but respect. Sign number 5. She questions her decision. When you stop contacting a woman, the silence doesn't just leave her wondering about you. It forces her to question herself. One of the most significant impacts of your absence is the doubt it creates in her mind. At first, she might have felt confident in her decision to reject you, walk away, or put distance between you. But when you don't chase, her confidence starts to waver. Suddenly, the choice she made doesn't seem so certain anymore. Why? Because women are deeply influenced by the validation they receive. When you were around, giving her attention, affection, and reassurance, she had the comfort of knowing someone valued her. That validation acted like a safety net. The moment you pull it away, she's left standing on shaky ground, wondering if she made a mistake by letting go of someone who cared for her. Here's what happens. She replays your interactions in her head, analyzing every moment for clues. Was he better than I gave him credit for? What if I don't find anyone else like him? Did I underestimate his value? These are the questions that start to haunt her. Your absence forces her to confront the possibility that she might have let go of a man who could have been good for her. Now here's the part men need to hear. The strength of her doubt depends on how you handle the situation. If you stay strong, confident, and focused on yourself, that doubt will grow. If you start chasing her or trying to convince her she made a mistake, you'll only confirm her initial decision. Remember, silence is powerful because it puts the ball in her court. The biggest mistake men make is underestimating their value. Too many men assume that when a woman rejects them, it's a final judgment of their worth. That's not true. Women's decisions are often emotional, and emotions can change. But her doubt will only surface if you give her the space to feel it. When you stop contacting her and focus on building your own life, you create a scenario where she has no choice but to question her decision. And when that doubt creeps in, she'll realize what she might have lost. Sign number 6. She tries to make you jealous. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the first reactions you might see is her sudden attempt to make you jealous. She might post pictures with other guys, flaunt an exciting social life, or talk about how much fun she's having. But let's be real. This isn't about her moving on. It's about her wanting a reaction from you. Why does she do this? Because your silence unsettles her. When you were in constant contact, she knew exactly where she stood with you. Now that you've pulled back, she's left wondering if she still has the same influence over your emotions. Jealousy is a powerful tool she uses to get that confirmation. If she can provoke a reaction, Whether it's a comment, a text, or even just you stalking her social media, she'll feel reassured that you're still invested. Here's what men need to understand. Her attempt to make you jealous isn't a sign of interest. It's a tactic born out of insecurity. She's not focused on building a meaningful connection with someone new. She's focused on seeing if she still has control over you. This isn't love. It's ego. For example, imagine she posts a photo with a guy at a party, genuinely tagging him with a flirty caption. At first glance, it might seem like she's moved on, but look closer. Is she really that interested in this guy, or is she hoping you'll see it and react? Her actions often reveal more about her need for attention than her actual feelings. The worst thing you can do is take the bait, reacting emotionally, whether it's by confronting her, messaging her, or even trying to outdo her by flaunting your own social life. Only gives her what she wants. It shows her she still has power over you. Instead, stay composed. The best response is no response. Focus on your life, your goals, and your progress. When you refuse to engage in her jealousy games, you send a clear message. You're not easily manipulated, and your value doesn't depend on her validation. This strength is what ultimately makes her second-guess her actions and potentially regret ever trying to play games in the first place. Sign number 7. She moves on too quickly. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the most confusing reactions is when she appears to move on almost immediately. Suddenly, she's posting about a new guy, going out all the time, or acting like she's completely unbothered by your absence. To the untrained eye, this might look like she's genuinely over you, but don't be fooled. In many cases, it's not about moving on. It's about masking her emotions. Why does this happen? Women often struggle to process rejection or the absence of attention from someone they once relied on. Instead of facing those uncomfortable feelings, some jump into a new relationship or fling to distract themselves. It's a way of avoiding the vulnerability that comes with being alone or admitting they might still care. The truth is, moving on too quickly often signals emotional confusion rather than clarity. She's likely asking herself questions she doesn't want to confront. Why isn't he chasing me? Did I misjudge him? Am I really over him? Instead of sitting with these thoughts, she fills the void with something or someone else. But here's where men need to wake up. You shouldn't take this personally or let it affect your self-worth. Her actions are not necessarily about you. They're about her need for validation. If you react emotionally to her moving on, it only reinforces her belief that she still has a hold on you. Don't fall into that trap. Let's be honest. Real emotional healing and genuine connections take time. If she's jumping into something new within days or weeks, it's unlikely to last. Relationships built on the rebound are often shallow and short-lived because they're built on distraction rather than substance. As a man, your job isn't to compete or prove your worth when she does this. Instead, stay focused on yourself. The most attractive thing you can do is remain calm, composed, and confident. Let her chase quick fixes while you build something meaningful in your own life. In time, she may realize that her attempt to move on so quickly wasn't as fulfilling as she thought. And when that happens, she'll start questioning whether she made the right choice by letting you go. Until then, keep your eyes forward and your energy on what truly matters, your growth. Sign number 8. She becomes curious about your life. When you stop contacting a woman, an intriguing shift often happens. She starts getting curious about your life. It might not be obvious at first, but over time, she begins to wonder what you're doing, who you're spending time with, and how you're handling her absence. This curiosity doesn't come from nowhere. It's a natural reaction to the unknown. Before, when you were always in her life, she knew what you were up to. She had access to your thoughts, your plans, and your emotions. But now, your silence has created a mystery. And as much as people love being in control, nothing stirs curiosity more than not knowing. She may find herself checking your social media more often, casually asking mutual friends about you, replaying old conversations in her mind to figure out if she missed something. It's human nature to want answers, especially when someone who used to be consistent suddenly disappears. And let's face it, curiosity can be powerful. It doesn't just make her wonder what's happening. It makes her reflect on why she's even wondering in the first place. Is it because she's genuinely interested? She feels like she's losing control. She underestimated what life would feel like without your attention. Here's where it becomes relatable. We've all been on both sides of this dynamic. Maybe you've ignored someone and later found yourself wondering how they're doing. Or perhaps you felt the sting of being left out of someone's life and caught yourself checking their updates just to feel connected again. It's not about weakness. It's about how humans react to distance and uncertainty. What men need to understand here is simple. Her curiosity doesn't always mean she wants you back. It's a mix of emotions, pride, ego, and genuine intrigue that makes her want to know more. The key is not to misinterpret her actions or get carried away. If she's curious, let her stay curious. Don't rush to fill in the blanks for her. That curiosity keeps you in her mind, and it's a reminder of the mystery and value you bring. Stay steady, stay focused, and let her deal with her own unanswered questions. Sign number 9. She blames you for the silence. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the most frustrating reactions you might face is her blaming you for the silence. At first, this might seem unfair. After all, you're the one who stopped reaching out. But here's the catch. Her blaming you isn't really about your actions. It's about her inability to take responsibility for her part in the situation. Let's break it down. Women are emotional beings, and when they feel hurt or rejected, it's easy for them to point the finger at someone else rather than confront their own feelings. It's much easier to blame you for the silence than to admit she may have pushed you away or failed to recognize the signs of your disinterest before you pulled back. This is where men need to wake up. Silence isn't always the villain in the story. It's often the result of unaddressed issues. If she's blaming you, it's because she's avoiding facing the real reasons you stopped reaching out. She may have taken your attention for granted, overlooked your emotional needs, failed to respect your boundaries. Now when you stop contacting her, she's left to point the blame at you because it's easier than reflecting on her own shortcomings. Here's the reality. Many men tolerate bad behavior, making excuses or letting things slide to keep the peace. When you stop being available, it forces the issue to the surface. She's no longer able to rely on you to fill the emotional void. And instead of asking herself why she didn't make an effort to communicate or address issues when you were reaching out, she turns it around and places the blame on you. But men, you need to stop buying into this. Don't let her deflect responsibility. Instead, use this moment to realize your worth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing to protect your peace. If you've been consistent without receiving, it's time to wake up and realize that self-respect is key. Don't fall into the trap of defending yourself or apologizing for what's necessary. If she's blaming you for the silence, it's time to let her own the reality of the situation. Silence, in this case, is often the best response. Sign number 10. She respects you more than before. When you stop contacting a woman, the last thing you might expect is for her to respect you more. It seems counterintuitive, right? You'd think that pulling away would make her think less of you or see you as weak. But the truth is, your decision to stop reaching out can actually increase her respect for you. And here's why. First, when you stop chasing her, you shift the power dynamic. Women respect men who have boundaries, who value themselves enough to walk away when they're not being treated the way they deserve. When you stop giving her constant attention, you show her that you're not emotionally dependent on her, that your self-worth isn't tied to her response or behavior. And this, in turn, makes you more attractive and commands respect. Men often make the mistake of being too available, too eager to please, thinking it will win them affection. But in reality, women respect men who are strong enough to put themselves first. When you stop contacting her, you're not begging for her approval. You're asserting your own value. This is a signal to her that you know your worth. And whether she admits it or not, That makes her respect you more. But here's the key takeaway. Respect is earned through actions, not words. When you take the bold step of pulling away, you force her to see that you're not someone to be taken for granted. In her eyes, you stop being just another guy who's willing to chase her at any cost. Instead, you become the man who is independent, confident, and aware of his worth. Now let's be real. This shift in respect doesn't mean she'll suddenly come running back. She might, or she might not. But the respect she gains for you during this period is undeniable, and it makes her see you in a completely different light. It shows that you're not afraid to walk away when you recognize the need to, and that type of strength is what commands real admiration. So men, don't be afraid to pull back. If she respects you more as a result, then you're doing something right. Let her see that you are someone who can stand on his own, and that's something that's impossible to ignore. Final thoughts. Here's the truth. When you stop contacting her, you're not losing. You're winning. Most men have been conditioned to believe that the key to keeping a woman's attention is constant effort, texting, and chasing her down. But here's the cold, hard reality. That's what makes you weak in her eyes. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. The moment you stop and focus on yourself, that's when you regain the power. Most guys won't tell you this, but you don't need her validation to feel complete. It's when you stop seeking her approval that she starts realizing what she truly lost. If you want real respect and attraction, you've got to stop trying to control the situation and let her figure out her own feelings. I know this might sound harsh, but I'm telling you, if you're always available, you'll never be valued. Now, if you've experienced this or have your own thoughts, drop a comment below. I'm reaching out to connect with you personally. Let's keep this conversation going because your story matters. And I'm here to help you become the man who gets the respect he deserves.